Tonight on KQED Newsroom, artificial intelligence tools built right here in the Bay Area are changing the world. We talk with a California lawmaker who's urging Congress to explore this emerging technology before it's too late. AI is also influencing the art world. We talk with the new director of the San Francisco Ballet about her innovative first season of shows, which includes a piece inspired by artificial intelligence. Coming to you from KQED headquarters in San Francisco, this Friday, May 12th, 2023. Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Priya David Clemens. In the 1950s, a scientist named Alan Turing made up the imitation game, a test of whether a computer could make a human think they were speaking with another human rather than a computer. It became known as the Turing test. Many technologists say current artificial intelligence tools can easily pass the Turing test and could soon become more intelligent than humans, although their intelligence is a very different kind than people. So what sorts of threats and benefits do these new technologies pose to humanity? And what are our leaders doing to address these tectonic shifts? Sam Altman, the maker of ChatGPT, the immensely popular and rapidly adopted chatbot tool driven by AI, is set to testify to Congress next week. Altman recently said that we need our global leaders to come together to create a regulatory framework for this technology. He has also said that artificial intelligence could be unbelievably good or could spell, quote, lights out for all of us. Representative Ted Lieu from California shares many of these concerns. Lieu is working to pass legislation that would keep humans, not computers, as the ultimate decision makers, particularly in relation to nuclear warfare. Congressmember Ted Lieu joins us by Skype from Torrance, California. Lieu is a representative from Los Angeles County. He also serves on the Foreign Affairs, House Judiciary, and Science, Space, and Technology committees. Representative Lieu, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Priya. Honored to be on the show.
It seems like we're at a tipping point with artificial intelligence. I mean, we're seeing it used across a multitude of industries around the globe. Tell us about this historic moment in time, which you've called the fourth industrial revolution.
As a recovering computer science major, I am amazed by artificial intelligence. It already has made significant advancements for each of us in our daily lives, such as helping us navigate to any location with the GPS on our phones. It's helping to protect our homeland from any risk of cyber attacks, and it's doing a lot in weather prediction. So it's already helping us, but AI can also harm us, and it's going to result in significant job displacement. I liken this to the steam engine when it was introduced to society. It was quite disruptive, but in a few years, it's going to look like a supersonic jet engine with a personality, and we need to be prepared for that.
You know, like you're saying, it's a supersonic jet. Everything seems to be happening so fast. We're all just trying to comprehend what the changes ahead look like. There are significant concerns about how AI could take jobs away. What sort of impact do you expect AI to have on the labor market in the coming years?
I urge everyone to try ChatGPT on the internet. It's free, or you can try Microsoft Bing that uses basically the same technology. Google has Bard that also does something similar, and you will see viscerally in a few minutes how far AI has come, and you will understand why AI is going to start replacing some jobs in the future. Some new jobs will be created, but we have to do some thinking about how do we retrain people for jobs that may be displaced.
Yeah, because those tools that you're talking about, they can help you write everything from poems to essays, can help you code. There is so much that technology alone can do. We've also heard about scams stemming from AI. I mean, for example, there are tools that let AI sample a human voice for just 3 seconds and then create an entire voice. And people get calls from folks who sound like, their son or daughter or bank and don't know what's true. Deepfake video, deepfake photos are getting more and more realistic. What are we supposed to do? How do we navigate the world when we can't trust our eyes and ears to know what's true and what's false anymore?
I encourage everyone to, first of all, not believe everything they read on the internet. And in addition, there are AI tools and AI software that can counter bad AI. So, for example, Adobe is working on a system where they can authenticate images and let you know if that was a real image or if it was altered. So there may be ways to counter some of their scams that we're seeing. Because this is moving so fast, I think the best way is for Congress to create a bipartisan blue ribbon commission to make recommendations to Congress as to how we should regulate AI and what kinds of AI we should regulate. I'm working on legislation to do just that.
You've also introduced a bill to block the launch of nuclear weapons unless a human is making the final decision. That seems like a no-brainer. Why is this legislation even necessary?
This legislation is bicameral. We have Senator Markey introducing the same legislation on the Senate side. It's bipartisan. I've introduced this with Republican Congressman Ken Buck and also Congressman Don Beyer, Democrat from Virginia. We believe this is important because right now the Department of Defense has what are known as autonomous weapons, weapons that launch automatically. And we simply want to put into law that no matter how amazing AI gets and how smart it gets, it can never launch a nuclear weapon by itself. There always has to be a human in the loop. And that's because fundamentally, at a very basic level, we don't know exactly how AI thinks. We don't know how it goes from point A to the conclusion. We know it generally gets it right, but we can't actually trace exactly how it gets there. And that's very disturbing when you have something as important as nuclear weapons.
Could you explain that to us a little bit as a former computer science major, as a person who is used to translating complex issues to the general public? How is it that we have this technology that has been unleashed into the world with new applications coming every day, hot and heavy, fast and furious, and yet we don't even know how it works?
That is a great question. When I was getting my computer science degree, there were these folks working on neural networks. We sort of ignored them. We thought, oh, it's pie in the sky. This thing's never going to work because their theory is we're going to make computers act like human beings. We're like, that's never going to happen. Well, about 15 years ago, it started to happen. And that's why voice recognition is amazing. You can call any airline and slur your words or have whatever accent you want, and it magically understands what flight you want to get on. Data recognition, pattern recognition, everything in terms of large data and patterns that can do better than human beings. And then this year we saw an additional step. So instead of recognizing, for example, what are puppies and what are elephants and what are cats, now you tell it cat and it generates 27 pictures of cats for you. So it's creating data now. It's generating content. And that's another step forward. It's called generative AI. And that's going to lead to a lot of very good applications to society. And as we said before, it's going to displace some jobs.
Well, on Monday, Congress is going to be hearing from Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, the maker of ChatGPT, which we referenced, and then he'll be attending a bipartisan dinner that you've organized. What do you expect to hear from him, and what sort of impact are you hoping it will have?
So I want to thank Sam Altman for coming to Congress to brief lawmakers. I invited him to a bipartisan dinner that we're having next week, and we're having lots of interest from lots of members of Congress. And there is a great degree of thirst for knowledge. And I think members want to know, how does this AI work? What are some of the harms? What are some of the benefits? You have members there who use ChatGPT every day to assist with their tasks. You have members there who have no idea what ChatGPT is. And I think that reflects a lot of America. You have varying degrees of knowledge about artificial intelligence. And the first thing we need to do is get everybody informed about this technology, what it can do, and what are some of the risks.
Last week, Vice President Harris met with several leaders of AI companies, and the Biden administration has announced a new $140 million investment into 7 new artificial intelligence research centers in America. Where do you think America stands in terms of regulations, research, knowledge compared to the European Union and China?
China, Russia, the U.S., a lot of countries are looking at AI, as you can imagine, for national security, for defense purposes, and also for commercial applications. Israel, by the way, is one of the leading countries in commercializing AI. So you have all sorts of countries that are already doing this. In terms of AI research, the U.S. Does pretty well. We have amazing companies that have amazing people working on this. And we have a free, open, and democratic system. So America is where immigrants from around the world with great ideas can come here, know that their idea will be protected with intellectual property laws, and we have the talent pool and the resources to make their idea into reality.
How can people best equip themselves to not only learn about what's coming, but to help shape the course that America takes over the coming years to make the best choices for job security, for personal security? How do we make sure as a society we have the safest system possible?
That is a great question. So there are photo agencies, for example, that do try to make sure products are safe. You got the Consumer Product Safety Commission, and I met with one of their commissioners recently. You have, for example, the Department of Transportation that's trying to make sure that cars don't kill you, right? So we know that a Tesla last November in full AI automated driving mode suddenly stopped in the middle of a tunnel in San Francisco, causing a multi-vehicle accident, injuring multiple victims. So I think federal agencies and state agencies need to get more people who know about AI to really look at the unique aspects of AI in any object that can kill us. Because when your laptop malfunctions, it's not going 50 miles per hour. We also, as a society, just need to get more informed on AI. So I encourage people to use AI, to read about it, to watch your show, to learn about it. And I think the more we get informed, the better we'll be in trying to think about the risks and benefits of AI. And then for people to contact their legislators. I vote over 1,000 times every 2 years in our legislative cycle. And over 80% of those votes, I don't get a single phone call, email, or meeting. So when you call in or write an email or demand a meeting with a legislator or their staff, that can make a big difference.
Congressmember Ted Lieu, thank you very much for your time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
San Francisco has the oldest ballet company in the United States and the second largest after New York. The ballet has a new artistic director, the first woman ever in the position. Tamara Rojo has come to the Bay Area from the UK, where she was the principal dancer and artistic director for the English National Ballet for nearly 10 years. We sat down with her to discuss the past, present, and future of the San Francisco Ballet. Tamara, tell me about how you're liking San Francisco and how it matches the picture that you had in your head of what this city would be like.
I really, really love it. I love that it is so diverse, that there's people from all over the world, that you can find amazing food from so many different cultures. I'm still trying to understand the weather. That's the one thing I'm not.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Especially this season with all of the rain that we've had and now some glorious sunshine.
Yeah, it's lovely now.
So you are highly awarded. You have received the Laurence Olivier Award, you've received a gold medal from the Kennedy Center. The King of Spain himself has decorated you 3 times with Spain's highest honors. What is it that motivates you as a dancer and as an artist?
I genuinely believe in the power of performing arts, or any arts, but particularly on performing arts to change people's life for the better. It's an amazing opportunity to come together, especially after the last years, and share a common experience and find what makes us the same and the things that unite us as human beings. I love when children come to the ballet for the first time and see an orchestra performing live and see a way of expressing emotions that is different and is joyous. So that's what motivates me, sharing the art form.
Did you yourself fall in love with ballet as a child?
I did, although not watching a performance. I stepped by accident into a ballet class.
By accident?
By accident, yes. I was waiting for my mom. She was working and she came a bit late and it was raining. And a teacher in the school that I have never met before said, "Come into the gym, we're doing ballet." I had no idea what that was, but the gym was warm. so I walked in and then I found ballet. And I just completely, instantly fell in love with it.
How old were you?
I was 6.
And then you continued for the rest of your life. When did you realize you had an aptitude and start professionally performing?
It was a little bit late. I just enjoyed the freedom that ballet gave me, the emotional freedom, and the, I don't know, there was something quite liberating about being in a ballet studio. And then I watched a performance, and that was a little bit shocking because I didn't know that ballet was a performing arts. I thought ballet was what happened in the studio, and then you became the ballet teacher. I was a little bit taken aback, but I just loved doing it so much, and it kind of slowly evolved into a situation where I had to make a decision to move forward with a more professional ambition. In a way, it just was the natural evolution for me. There was never any push or anything other than the joy of dancing.
When was your first big break?
Actually, it was when I was 19. I was by then already a professional. I started dancing in a small company in Madrid when I was 16. And there was an opportunity to go to an international competition in Paris. And I decided at the last minute there was an opportunity to go. And I decided to just try because I wanted to know where I really was in the international landscape. I felt that so far I had been kind of protected by being, in a local company that came from my school. And I wasn't sure if I was really any good at it. And so I went to Paris and I won. And then that opened kind of all the opportunities after that.
Ballet dancers have a reputation for being extremely tough. Mm-hmm. And you yourself once danced an entire performance of the Nutcracker with a burst appendix.
Yeah.
What do you think about that drive? I think our perspective on health is changing over the years. We think more about wellness, about mental wellness, about physical wellness. Is that a legacy that should continue, or should we change that perspective?
Absolutely should not continue. I will not recommend anybody to perform with a burst appendix. I didn't know I had a burst appendix, but nevertheless, I think over the last few years, and certainly since I've come here, we focused on strengthening the support, the medical support, the psychological support, the nutritional support to the dancers. And I want an environment of healthy dancers because, they deserve as long as a career as possible and as healthy and fulfilling career as possible. So I think there has to be a healthy understanding of that push that many athletes and many dancers share to become your best. And it's a competition against yourself. You want to be your best. You compete against your own dancing yesterday. You want to be better than yesterday. And that's a natural thing that many humans have, of that instinct of superation, of your own limitations. But that has to be balanced with an understanding that there is a long journey ahead of you, and that also there's a life after dancing.
So for you, you are stepping into that life because you've actually stopped dancing. Mm-hmm. Are you fully retired? Are you going to return to the stage at some point?
Fully retired, and if I ever say I'm coming back, I want somebody to hit me on the head. I had the best career. I was so fulfilled, and I did so many things I could not even imagine were possible when I started as a 6-year-old.
Such as?
Just performing in the best theaters in the world and with the best partners and every repertoire that any ballerina could dream of, and having ballets created for me. I mean, I genuinely lived the dream. I'm also very aware that what I want to do now is to create the opportunities for other dancers to achieve their own aspirations and dreams. So no intention of going back on the stage.
Well, you were stepping into a storied institution. Your predecessor, Helgi Thomason, had been the artistic director here for almost 40 years. Mm-hmm. And it was planned that you would come and take over from him. You are currently finishing up his season, what he had planned. And next season is all yours.
Yes.
What do you have planned for us? What are you going to create?
I'm really excited about next season. I'm excited because I am bringing new artists that have never worked in San Francisco. I'm bringing ballets that I know the dancers are really eager to perform and that have rarely seen, like pieces created for Margot Fontaine and Rudolf Nureyev, like Marguerite and Armand, who have a history of their own here in San Francisco. I've invited Ariela Smith to create a new Carmen for us. I'm bringing a piece by Annabelle Lopez Ochoa about Frida Kahlo. And I've commissioned a big piece of work for Floating Points, who is an amazing composer, Sam Shepard, called Mere Mortals, around the moral questions of artificial intelligence. And it's being choreographed by Asher Barton. It's the first time we're having a full length by a female choreographer in San Francisco Ballet. So we're also bringing some favorite family shows, of course, Our Nutcracker, A Midsummer Night's Dream, Swan Lake. So I think there's so much, and so much that is new, but also so much that honors our own legacy. I'm very excited for next season.
So there's some that's familiar and some that is pushing into new territory. Let's talk specifically about the ballet that is looking at artificial intelligence. You're in the center of where so many companies are building out that technology. What is it that drew you to blending the art form and this tech?
One of the things that really motivates me is to make sure that the art form is relevant, that we are speaking stories or telling stories that are that means something to the audiences of today, and that we hopefully can also reach into audiences that perhaps have never considered ballet as an art form for them. I think artificial intelligence is the moral question of our time. And like every time that there is some kind of technological advancement, there seems to be a price to pay. And interestingly enough, when we discussed the idea with Sam and Asher, we were thinking, okay, what other moments in time has human beings been in this crossroads? And it turns out that there's constant, of course, since the stealing of fire, which is why it drew us to the Pandora myth, which is what Mere Mortals is about. Opening the box, I feel very much that artificial intelligence is opening the box, and we don't really know what's coming out. But it seems that humanity always pushes forward. At whatever cost. And I think that's what we want to discuss in a way by bringing this work is what are the questions we should be asking ourselves.
You are the first female artistic director here. Do you think it makes a difference what gender you are in that role? You also mentioned there's a female choreographer working for the first time on a full-length piece here. What is that perspective shift that happens when you bring women into these positions?
That's a question that I've asked myself many times, and I think I didn't get the job because I am a woman. I got the job because I have a curriculum, and I hopefully because of my vision was the right vision for the organization. But of course I do have my own experiences, and so I have my own biases when reaching out to collaborators perhaps, or discussing storylines or things that I would like us to explore with other artists and commissioning. So it will influence, obviously, my decisions because it is my life and my perspective. But I'm not sure that I will generalize in terms of, is there a real difference? When I was director of English National Ballet, I commissioned over 40 women during 10 years to create works to see if there was a difference between female choreographers and male choreographers. And my takeout was that there's a difference between human beings, and that each of those choreographers was different from each other. So I'm not sure that I will be as clear-cut as that.
Would you lay out for me what your vision is for San Francisco Ballet going forward?
My vision is to build on the legacy of previous directors and to continue to push our art form forward, to bring the best possible dance and the best possible ballet to the widest possible audience, to open it up to new voices, to new creatives, to reflect the diversity of San Francisco.
When you talk about new audiences, ballet is not always inexpensive. People can sometimes feel like it's inaccessible, something that they don't know about. It's not a part of their world every day. How do you encourage new audiences?
I think exactly by opening the art form to new collaborators that bring stories that perhaps resonate with audiences that have not considered coming to see us perform before. By telling the stories that children want to see and their families want to bring them to. By reaching out into the communities. We do a lot of community work. We really want to have a positive impact in our city and in California. and we are going to kind of dig deeper into that side of what we do. We want to be part of people's culture and part of the identity of this city, an unquestionable part of this city. There are many things that we are planning in terms of where we perform, how we perform, what we perform, so that hopefully some of those perceptions may be shifted.
Tamara, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Sticking with the arts, since 2009, the Walt Disney Family Museum has allowed visitors to immerse themselves in the personal life and legacy of Walt Disney. Join us as we travel to the Presidio to take a stroll through this iconic establishment for this week's look at something beautiful. What a fun place. That is the end of our show for tonight. We will see you right back here next week. If you like to share your comments or questions for us, you can email us at knr@kqed.org. You can also find KQED Newsroom online or on Twitter, and you can reach me on LinkedIn at Priya D. Clements. Thank you for joining us. Have a great weekend.